Our girl was about to jump into the corporate jungle, so she ran into the weirdest guy ever. Whispers of what could be echoed through. Excuse me, can you hold that for a second? This dude wanted to nap so badly, he just climbed onto the luggage rack. Seriously, his ridiculous behavior was equal parts shocking and hilarious. Vulnerability meets chance in cinematic grace. She almost gave him a polite warning but hesitated and decided against it. Our leading lady had no clue that T-Sleek found CC's tablet and started reading her stuff with a cheeky grin. This interlude promises more than it reveals. She sensed eyes on her and looked up. "You're my guy," represented Margot. "It's a little hard for my taste." Emotions brew beneath the surface calm. Seeing she ignored him, the guy, we'll call him Jack, just kept chatting. About his take on the sun also rises. They were about to have a major Hemingway debate when Cece's calendar alert popped up. The calendar kind of interrupts your reading like that. / I'm pretty sure that you interrupted me first. This interlude promises more than it reveals. Gentle twist in cinematic grace. Echoes of affection meets chance in cinematic grace. Being the observant guy, the luggage rack, the spark ignites, subtle yet undeniable. Flash forward to the next day. The train hit the station. Although zero invitation, Jack smoothly tagged along with Cece, and after saying bye he started his own Barcelona adventure, following their exact path. Layers of longing unfold in quiet beauty. All day, the three gals hit every site near their pad, capturing all the gorgeous moments. Even though they were beat from walking, it didn't dull their excitement for Barcelona one bit. When night fell, Cece was dragged to a super famous local bar. While she was tearing up the dance floor, one friend spotted Jack. Cece was confused and shocked. Her two smart friends quickly realized Jack was totally into Cece, so they made up excuses and bolted, leaving the pair alone. Yes, the matchmakers strike. Whispers of what could be echoed through. So of all the clubs and warehouses in Barcelona, you choose O Camera to see you? / I heard Amy talking about where you guys were going tonight. I figured you'd be here. Cece had a hunch about his intentions. She didn't exactly love this random guy popping up everywhere, but she couldn't say she hated him either. Romance blooms in the rain's aftermath. Cece, who wasn't built for loud clubs, ended up chatting awkwardly with Jack. He was super engaging. Their conversation just flowed. When her friends texted they weren't coming back to the hotel, Jack knew this was his moment. He escorted her all the way until a cool lighthouse popped into view. Jack suddenly froze. Emotions brew beneath the surface calm. My great-grandpath was here in the 40s, and he rode the cable car. He wrote that they climbed to the top of the lighthouse, and the city lights spread out below them. Layers of longing unfold in quiet beauty. T helped but gasp in awe, looking out at the scene, which was both new and oddly familiar. Jack emotionally revealed the Ray all wrote about all the places that he was traveling to. I have it with me. Romance blooms in the rain. I'm trying to go to every place that he wrote about. Cece thought Jack was just being sentimental, honoring his late great-grandfather by tracing his old journal entries. She didn't think twice. Little did she know, Jack's trip had a much deeper, hidden meaning. But more on that later. Since getting off the train, they hadn't stopped. Add in a couple of drinks at the bar and that mind-blowing view outside, and they quickly drifted off to sleep. They didn't wake up until the next morning. Emotions brew beneath the surface calm. When the cable car started shaking, Cece realized they were in big trouble, but Jack just chilled, repaying tourists who had been locked inside the lighthouse all night. Layers of longing unfold in quiet beauty. That story was full of holes, obviously, but all Jack needed was a split second. While the worker was distracted to make their great escape, they dashed out and immediately headed back to Cece's hotel. Since money was tight, their original plan was just one day in Barcelona. But while packing up to rush to the station, disaster struck. Whispers of what could be echoed through. You took all my stuff. My passport, all my money. It turned out Amy had stayed behind because she met a cute guy, who then totally robbed her. Seriously? It turned out Amy had stayed behind because she met a cute guy, who then totally robbed her. Seriously? We'll get you an emergency passport and you'll be fine. Or, Amy, where do you think this house party was? Layers of longing unfold in quiet beauty. To keep everyone safe, Jack smartly brought his own buddy along. Following Amy's memory, the five of them quickly arrived at the party location. The guy there wasn't the thief, but seeing two huge guys in the group, the poor guy didn't even struggle and spilled the beans on who stole Amy's stuff. Emotions brew beneath the surface calm. Following the trail, they quickly found the thief. He tried to deny it, but Cece was ready to call the police. While the thief was freaking out, Jack and his friend forced their way into the room. The thief, terrified of getting beaten up, jumped right out the window. The gang searched the room and found Amy's missing items, plus a little bonus surprise for Jack. Serendipity at its finest, pulling strings unseen. Hey, do you guys want to extend your trip? I'm going on a little adventure. It's probably even. He actually stole money from the thief. Jack felt zero guilt about that. Serendipity at its finest, pulling strings unseen. Cece initially wanted to bail, but her friends desperately wanted to stay longer and she couldn't say no after just one day hanging out with the expanded crew. A brush with destiny that lingers sweetly. The bond between the five soared. Connie and Jack's friend, Rafe, instantly hit it off and became a couple. In just 24 hours. But Cece and Jack were still stuck awkwardly in the just friends zone. Salvador Dali used to live in this house. / is this the famous journal? Yeah. The narrative's pulse quickens here. While the other three went hotel, Jack brought Cece to a house mentioned in, but Amy spoke up first. Layers of longing unfold in quiet beauty. I want to walk the Camino de Santiago. Before this trip, she'd been heartbroken, and then she was ripped off by that guy. Now, she needed this pilgrimage to cleanse her soul. To Cece's surprise, after Amy left, Connie and Rafe decided to ditch the group for their own romantic adventure. With her friends gone, Cece saw no point in staying. She had to start her new job in 2 weeks. And planned to move right after this trip. This interlude promises more than it reveals. On the way to the station, they chatted about the future. Cece was super hopeful, but Jack seemed less thrilled. He used to have a prestigious job, but got fired due to a mysterious illness. This journey, full of adventure, was really just his way of running from the harsh reality life had thrown at him. He claimed it was for freedom, but it was just escape. Cece took it as a normal, fleeting thought and didn't press him for details. A brush with destiny that lingers sweetly. When they got to the station, Jack stared at Cece's luggage in the trunk just as she was asking what would happen if you didn't catch your flight home. The spark ignites, subtle yet undeniable. My ticket's already booked and paid for, Jack. I can't just not go. / here, theoretically, whoa. / in the next 4 hours, that plane's gonna leave, and you're not on it. That would be really bad. You'd miss an apartment moving day. This interlude promises more than it reveals. But what happens to your life's words made Cece think hard. If she stayed, she started her new job. Cece seriously considered it. Vulnerability meets chance in cinematic grace. And finally decided to stay. The pull of freedom and the unknown totally crushed. They officially entered the most epic phase of this adventure. Emotions brew beneath the surface calm. Following the journal's map, they constantly hit the road, stopping to crash with families whose ancestors knew Jack's great-grandfather. Just hearing his great-grandfather's name was enough for the hosts to welcome them warmly. Everyone spread out, chatting about the friendship between the two old generations. Whispers of what could be echoed through. Once they truly started traveling, it felt like their hearts cracked wide open. They shared painful pasts, funny college stories, family histories, and even their weird habits. As time flew, they opened up more and more, and their connection totally exploded. Of course, they officially became a couple. Guided by the journal, Jack decided to try something he never thought he'd do. Heartstrings tugged by the unlikeliest paths. In a city famous for bull running, Jack joined the locals, all in white shirts and red scarves, to be chased by a herd of bulls through the narrow streets. Cece's worry wasn't for nothing. Out of everyone, the bull picked Jack, the tourist. Luckily, it was just a dislocated shoulder, which would heal completely in a few days. The narrative's pulse quickens here. Time flew by. As Cece and Jack bounced between countries, she kept in touch with her two friends, sharing her amazing feelings and all the crazy sights and sounds of the journey. They snapped photos in romantic lavender fields and feel the sea breeze of freedom on towering cliffs. These adventures were guaranteed to become unforgettable memories, forever held close by both of them. The spark ignites, subtle yet undeniable. Just as the journal was about to end, while they were on the bus to the next town, Jack got a call from the hospital. If you lick up a Flona colony with your shoulder and yours, we've noticed something abnormal in your scan. And we need to schedule a follow-up at your earliest convenience. This interlude promises more than it reveals. It turned out the reason Jack took this long adventure was because he was seriously ill, and this sickness from each other. Having finished the journal's last stop, they started discussing when to head home. Vulnerability meets chance in cinematic grace. As Cece tidied up, she accidentally found another page full of writing tucked behind the last page of the journal. It was about a tiny village named St. Paul. St. Paul, a small village right in the Pyrenees, sits exactly where three countries meet. I'm here in April for their festival season. / they are finishing the winter and welcoming the Santos de la Primavera. / I've been here for 6 days, and they've not stopped dancing. / they've done this for centuries. They've kept the faith that spring will come. Heartstrings tugged by the unlikeliest paths. That life will go on. They are dancing in the face of death. Knowing Cece's vacation time was running out, neither of them insisted on rushing to this village called St. Paul. From Cece's perspective, they just started dating. There would be plenty of time later to fix this tiny regret. Romance blooms in the rain's aftermath. As for Jack, he urgently needed to fly back to New Zealand for a checkup. / I'm getting on a plane to New York. And we haven't really talked about. I think we should make the most of every one of those days until you go. And then what? Jack's vague answer totally crushed Cece's hopes. The spark ignites, subtle yet undeniable. She expected him to follow her to New York for love, or at least promise to meet up in New Zealand later. His strange attitude made Cece instantly furious. Why every single time I bring up anything about the future, you get distant? / Because there's no point talking about the future. There's no point. The narrative's pulse quickens here. Talking about the future, because I won't have one. He hesitated, but couldn't bring himself to say those words. After being diagnosed with cancer, instead of despair, Jack's first thought was, no regrets. This epic adventure, including bravely pursuing Cece, whom he fell for instantly, was the courage he gave himself. After learning his life was short. But as their feelings deepened, he realized he had a massive, huge problem. The spark ignites, subtle yet undeniable. How on earth should he end this? After much thought, Jack knew he had to keep the truth hidden. He couldn't ruin Cece's happiness just because of him. In the alley, their first real fight erupted when Jack refused to commit to going to New York with her. Emotions brew beneath the surface calm. After a full day of soul-searching, Jack realized that breaking up wasn't enough to kill Cece's feelings. So, the night before they were supposed to leave, he promised Cece he would go to New York with her. I think you should call me as soon as possible, please. Emotions brew beneath the surface calm. Before this call, Jack planned to get Cece safely to New York, then vanish, hoping she'd hate him. But receiving this urgent message, he had to speed up his timeline. Just 10 minutes before boarding, he claimed he was going to the restroom and secretly slipped out of the waiting area. Cece waited forever, and Jack still hadn't returned as boarding started. Panicking, she rushed to the restroom, but he wasn't there. The spark ignites, subtle yet undeniable. Cece's mind went blank. She frantically searched the crowds. Jack, watching nearby, saw Cece about to miss her flight. Looking for him. Desperate for her to leave, he quickly texted her, claiming he had already boarded the plane. As Cece looked for her seat, a sinking feeling growing. When she saw Jack's seat was empty, she completely collapsed. She checked her phone and saw a text from Jack that just said, "I'm sorry." When she tried to text back and yell at him, BAM, she realized he had already blocked her. Ouch. Whispers of what could be echoed through. It worked exactly as Jack planned. In Cece's heart, he was officially the most patient, manipulative jerk ever. 2 months zipped by. Cece met up with Amy and Connie. After hearing the whole messy story, Amy was full of anger. But Connie, who was super close with Jack's friend Rafe, noticed Jack's behavior was seriously off. The spark ignites, subtle yet undeniable. T heard anything either s not weird. T told Connie was finally over it. T help but feel suspicion bubble up again. Emotions brew beneath the surface calm. She just couldn't figure out what the heck had happened to make him send that "I'm sorry" text and then completely ghost her. This mystery ate her for a whole month, making it impossible to focus on her job. Finally, Cece got a wedding invitation from Connie and Rafe. After a few months, those two lovebirds decided to commit their lives to each other. During the dancing portion of the reception, serendipity at its finest, pulling strings unseen. Where hearts aligned, Cece cornered Rafe, hoping desperately for some real clues. Not a word. Serendipity at its finest, pulling strings unseen. Seeing the desperate look in Cece's eyes, Rafe finally couldn't keep the secret anymore. He led her to a room and pulled out a sealed letter from his luck. Jack knew Cece would be persistent. Worried she wouldn't start a new relationship, he entrusted Rafe to give her the letter at the right moment. The narrative's pulse quickens here. Hither, I know vanishing at the airport was an unforgivable thing to do. Watching you board the plane alone was the hardest thing that I've ever done. But at that moment, I felt I had no choice. Serendipity at its finest, pulling strings unseen. I lied to you about how sick I've been before. But there was one thing that I knew for sure, I couldn't ask you to watch me die. I had to leave. I had to hope that you'd hate me for doing it. Find the happiness that you deserve. This interlude promises more than it reveals. The 2 weeks we spent together have become my favorite movie in my head. I play it over and over again, hoping the memories never fade. What I know now is that I wasn't following the journal. I was running from the truth. The spark ignites, subtle yet undeniable. The journal wasn't some self-help book or guide to find fulfillment. It was a map that led me to you. And finding you made every bit of that journey worthwhile. It is giving me strength to face whatever comes next. Love is what makes us dance in the face of death. Romance blooms in the rain's aftermath. A breeze rustled the paper, making Cece remember Jack reading that line from the journal, dancing in the face of death. After saying goodbye to her friends, Cece bravely set off on this new, unknown journey. Would Jack be at the end of the road? Serendipity at its finest, pulling strings unseen. The only thing she knew for sure was that if she didn't go, she would regret it forever. Then, a familiar face turned around in the crowd. It was fate. Jack couldn't keep his promise to himself. Whispers of what could be echoed through. And you found me. I remember it, dancing in the face of death. Hey there. I can't hold for you, I don't. I can't give you a future. I don't need you to. I'm here now and I love you, and I wanna dance. I love you too. The narrative's pulse quickens here. From a chance meeting on a train to a romance that grew on the road, they found each other through freedom and chaos. But Jack's illness threatened everything, forcing him to run. Cece's pure devotion led her to find him. The film ends with them reuniting at St. Paul, dancing together in the face of death, a gorgeous testament to love's power. Just like in real life, love helps us gather strength and keep chasing the good stuff, no matter what life throws at us. Don't miss this beautiful movie. A brush with destiny that lingers sweetly.